with a group of students and alumni called the Digital Maker Collective, which you can see um, on the screen over there. We've been exploring the what is called the Metaverse, which we originally started to call the immersive web. So looking at how we can move from sort of 2D experiences of the web into a more 3D experience of the web. So what I mean by 3D is that you can move around a 3D space in the web, and you can also and the 3D web is available, you know, in lots of different flavors, lots of different ways, where you can be in a browser or in an application and move around. The metaverse is really a collection of those worlds, of 3D worlds, but the metaverse is also more about having interactions with other users in the space. So it's more a sort of community collaborative space, if you like. Feel free to shout out at any point. Like I say, it's always nice to know there's another human at the end of the line. Um, when we're in this sort of scenario and we've got, say, 15 people in the space, it feels very natural and very, it feels very natural and very, it feels more like a sort of interaction is happening between two humans rather than just uh, yeah, feeling sort of kind of not there. Um, yeah. So in terms of the whole point of this session, I guess, was to look at you guys as fine art. I studied fine art actually at Wimbledon, so I graduated in 2000. That's one of my paintings behind me. I'm yeah, traditionally a painter, but I also, know, I messed around with technology. I did digital stuff for my degree. I did a lot of Photoshop stuff. So the idea of artists using digital technology is not new. I think it's been very much sort of pushed to the forefront in the last year, obviously, with everyone kind of being sort of forced into digital, which is is good for some. Some people might kick against it. There was already a lot of people kicking against digital anyway and technology, and that's fine. That's good. We need to question technology, and we need to question the tech dominance, tech industry dominance, and all that sort of stuff. Definitely do, but that doesn't mean we don't engage with it. And the more an artist engaged with technology, I guess the more you can sort of question it and confront it really. And also, not just that, give it a language. Make it, because at the moment the language of this media, and we'll talk about this in a minute, is is not coming from artists. It's coming from people that know how to code, and yeah, artists can code, but I think it's not necessarily coming from artists, the language. So I think the more artists we get in there that are not necessarily tech savvy, that can go in and sort of disrupt this space, I think the better. So with that in mind, there's a few ways you can get into gallery. I think Babette, you shared this with me. This was one of Babette's original sort of uh, ideas for looking at how we could get art online, because what you can do is create your website, and as you know, you can create lots of sort of ways of making a website. You can do the um, all the pre-made websites are really easy now, but you kind of fall into a trap with that, because you're sort of buying into a company that's going to host your website, and if anything goes wrong with that website, you've got to rely on that company to fix those problems, which normally means paying. Then you've got sites like this, which are great. That they're basically sites that enable a 3D interaction, like I was just doing, where you can go around the 3D gallery space. Um, you can create a free account, but you can't really do much with that free account. You need to pay basically for the more functionality, and for the more exposure, you need to sort of pay more really. So they're great. Look into them by all means. What I'm going to show you now is not the be all end all. Look into all the different platforms that are out there and give them a go. Literally, just get in there and try it out. So I guess the next level is you know is what I'm going to show you now, which is really I'm in Frame VR, so hopefully you all Babek sent out some links and you've managed to either already step into Frame VR and have a look at it. And also there were some links examples there of some galleries that have been made by myself and also some students. So I think the point of today was we were going to look at some of the ways of adding content into the frame, which I'll do now. Okay. I just want to mention one last thing, which you'll probably see is quite getting a lot of airtime at the moment, and it's very connected to artists putting work online, is crypto art. Just do a little search around crypto art because there's a really big movement going on at the moment with NFTs, which non-fungible tokens, which are basically a lot of artists are creating digital art and putting it on these crypto blockchain galleries, and they're selling for like millions, thousands of pounds. So there's definitely, we're not going to talk about it now, but definitely just do a little bit of research into sort of crypto art scene. It's quite interesting at the moment. And again, the language of that is being defined as we speak. And I think the more artists that go into that, the better. Hopefully you've all created an account. And then what you get is a default environment, which is this. This is the out the box environment, if you like. So if I go up to the top of my menu, this is basically where everything lives, where all my profile is. My inventory, so your inventory is basically all your content that you bring into the space. You've got your frames. So at the moment, I've got your frames. I've got a frame called Fine Art, Crit, and Deck. So you get three frames to play with. That's it. That's your limit. If you want more frames, you can create another account with another email. So you create a new frame. So if you want to create a new frame, try and keep the name quite simple, because basically what you're going to have with Frame VR is free. So you're going to have FrameVR .io / whatever your name of your frame is. So the frame I'm in now is called Fine Art. So yeah, nice and simple. People can just go to frame, type Fine Art at the end, and they'll make it into this frame. So in terms of the environments, like I say, you get these out the box environments. So I'm in frames, this frame, and an environment. So you can switch the environments, but obviously once you've created your space, you don't really want to switch the environment, because what will happen, it will go, all the stuff that you've put in there, the content, will not obviously align to your environment. So I'm going to quickly switch this environment to Zen Office. Okay, so you can see I've moved to the Zen Office. Oh, someone's joined us. Hello. So yeah, someone's obviously yeah. You're welcome to join us if you want to hop in to the frame while I'm doing this. Come and join me. So you can see, look, that's that screen I had on. That's the Metaverse text there. It's just sitting in midair now, because I changed, which actually looks quite cool. Yeah. So happy accidents can happen. Again, that's part of the experimentation. So these little blue lines on the floor, these are kind of zones. So if I step into this zone, you hear a little ting, and it's basically saying that hello, whoever this is, we we can only hear each other in this space. So if anyone was standing outside this zone, they wouldn't be able to hear us. So these are quite good in terms of having, if you've got 30 people in space, then it's good to have those sort of private speaking areas because everyone doesn't talk over each other. So in terms of, we'll change the environment again. So frames, this frame, Zen Office. So you've got an expo center, which is quite corporate-y kind of thing. It's you're going to have a look at it. You've got a neon hall. Yeah. So again, yeah, we've changed the environment. Look, Metaverse is still there. It's now sort of hanging here. Yeah, this is again another pre-made world. So we had quite a good event in here recently where one of the alumni members of the Digital Maker Collective basically did a presentation around the avatar, and what she did was set up a sort of objects, images, and 3D objects in these spaces, and then she used this as to guide the 20 odd people that were in that talk around the presentation. So we'd go into this space like this, and then she'd talk about stuff, and then we'd go into this one, and she'd talk about the stuff in there. So it made it very, we got away from that sort of PowerPoint craziness. Okay, so that's that. I won't go through all the environments. You've got the gallery small, which that's the one you normally start in. You've got the atrium, which is, again, it's quite good, and we use this as our base for our collective. It's quite big. If you hold your shift key, you can move. Oh God, I'm making it. If you hold the shift key, you can move fast around the space, especially in some of the larger spaces. So yeah, I'll try and go slow because it can make you feel sick if you're watching this. You can go upstairs. This little balcony. So yeah, so you might not want to go for a conventional sort of art gallery space. You might want to sort of go for a more of a social, collaborative space, maybe. Honestly, just stick your mic on and shout questions if you got any. What's the next thing I'm going to show? So that was the atrium. And then there's an outdoor theatre, which is quite good, like an amphitheatre. Let's go there. Why not? I don't know what time we've got. I'm happy to go on. Babette, have we got a time I need to keep to? Because obviously I'm going to show as much as I can.
Yeah, there's something starting at 11.
Okay, I'll go faster. Okay. So yeah, so here's your amphitheatre. Again, that might have a good use for it. And then you've got a team suite. There's a large gallery here, which they say large gallery, but it's not that large, and it's actually smaller than the other one. So you may. It's taking a bit of time to load. Okay, yeah. So it's quite a different kind of gallery. And then if you don't want any galleries, you can literally just create an empty, and this is a totally empty space. Okay. So in here you could potentially import your own environment, obviously within limits, and we'll talk about that now. So I'll go back to the gallery that we're in, just the normal gallery. So let me explain a little bit about Frame VR. So it's free at the moment. It's in beta, which means it's in development. and they're going to release it as a final application. Uh, and I guess I I yeah, that there will be, I guess, at some point some sort of business model that's applied to it that will offer more functionality than you get at the moment with the free stuff, and that might involve quite a lot of customizable stuff. So at the moment, you're kind of fixed to these environments unless you create your own environment. But that's a sort of level of complexity that, if you're happy with, you can do, but also has its limitations, like I say, because if you're bringing a big model in, then you're already starting to affect performance. But saying that, some students that have made frames, the links that you sent out, have a look at those links at some of the art students that have been creating frames, because what they've been doing is using images to cover the walls, or changing the color of the walls by putting like just a JPEG image of a color on. So that's one way of doing it, but it's a bit fiddly, not ideal. Okay, so the next thing we need to know is, for like a conventional gallery, if we wanted to, say, import an image. So let's say I wanted to put an image on this wall here. So the first thing you need to do is obviously prepare your content. So I would suggest you kind of do as much of that beforehand. So, hopefully you all know Photoshop, and you all know um, how to sort of manage the size of a JPEG image. So when you come to import, and if you don't, then obviously seek support on that, because that's what you can get support on. So when you come to upload your content, there's a couple of ways to do it. You can add directly into the frame, where you can see add image, add photo, add da da da, or you can add to the inventory. So if you add to the inventory, it just goes into your backpack, if you like, and then you can chuck it in to your frame. What I tend to do is just go straight to the add to this frame bit, and then what I do is also tick the also add to inventory. That way it goes in your backpack, but it also goes into your frame straight away. If you look on each example of content you can bring in, it actually says exactly what you can do. So it's saying here you can upload a PNG or a JPEG image with a file size of 10 megs. Now, I would not bring in a whole load of 10 meg files, because you'll overload the platform and it'll take a long time to load up. So I would try and keep, especially if you're getting say 10 images in there, I would try and keep everything down to a couple of meg each if you can. The images, it doesn't really make much difference. You can have a really good quality 2 meg image for sure. So JPEGs normally, but PNG. So obviously PNG provides that transparency. So if you've got a PNG image, that's a good way to do text. So like that Metaverse here is a PNG. So that's been made in Photoshop and then exported as a PNG, which provides the transparency. So you get that sort of text. There's no sort of image there, background image. Okay, so I'm going to add image. Browse. I've got image here. If I hover over it, it's three. This is nearly 4 meg image, so it's quite a large image. I wouldn't necessarily put a 4 meg image in, like I say. Okay, so that's kind of placed my image just in the frame. It hasn't put it directly on the wall. So this is where you need to do a little bit. So you see it's just hanging, it's just floating in the air. So this is where you need to orientate yourself in the 3D space. and start to position this image. So I would totally recommend that you get a mouse with a wheel on it. Don't try and do this on your trackpad on your laptop. Definitely use a mouse. You can do it on the trackpad, but it's really awkward. So to edit this image, we need to go into edit mode. And there's two ways you can do that. You can drop down the menu and just click this over to edit mode here. Or you can hit the space bar key and you see this little pop-up thing happens here. And then click edit on that. With this space bar, if you're looking up like that, sometimes you don't realize that the space bar is open. And when you try and move, like I'm doing now, to move around the space, you use the WASD keys on your keyboard and the mouse to move your head. I can't see that wheel, so that's like a common mistake. You just make sure you hit the space bar, close that wheel, and then you can start moving again. Also, when you're in edit mode, make sure when you're finished editing that you take itself off edit mode because you can accidentally move stuff around the space. Okay, so I'm going to click on that image and it's saying this is the UT. I can scale it, so I can make it larger. I can rotate it if I needed to, but I don't want to rotate it. I want to keep it nice and flat, so it sits on the wall. Scenes we'll talk about in a minute, and this other stuff we'll talk about in a minute. So what I need to do now is position this on this wall, and I'm using my mouse just by grabbing it, and I'm using my wheel on my mouse to move it backwards. And I moved it right into the wall, and I don't want it in the wall. I want it to sit on the wall, so I'm literally just pushing it in the wall and out the wall. So that's sitting on the wall, and then I can expand the image as big as I want it. And then I can lock the position. If you want zoomable, that basically puts a magnifying glass on the top, and I'll just show what that does. I'll close this, I'll come off edit mode. So you can't do anything until you're off edit mode in terms of functionality. So yeah, if you want, if you now hover over it, you see this horrible, well, I think it's horrible, blue thing sort of appears, but it kind of brings the image forward like that so you can see it. If you hover off it, it goes away, the blue thing. It's kind of, it's nice in terms of functionality because it means that people can sort of see the full image, but actually especially if it's, you don't want this on your artwork all the time, so I tend to, this is kind of a new bit of functionality that they added, so I tend to just take that zoomable option off. If people want to see the image up close, they can, you're in the 3D web, so you can just go up close, you can go really close to it if you wanted. So basically that's the same method for everything really when you're uploading. We'll look at 360 photos in a bit. Add video. So again here, when you're adding a video, you've got options. Videos can be MP4, all those, and it's 100 meg max. Again, I would try not to put loads of really massive videos in. So if I wanted to upload a video, it's the same principle. So where are we going to put the video? Over here. Add video. It does compress it, so as long as your video is under 100 megs, it will accept it. Let's have a look. This is why I'm just trying to find the video now. Okay, so I've got quite a large video here, which is 70 megabytes. And what it will do is upload your video, it'll compress it, and then it'll let you know when it's ready. So there'll be like a placeholder thing saying it's processing. So yeah, this is 70 megs. So yeah, what I didn't say from the beginning is that obviously the advantage of this is that it's browser based, that you don't have to, of this platform, is that you do not have to download an application. You're literally just putting your URL in and you're entering via a browser into the 3D web. Um, I guess that's the difference from other applications where you have to download the actual program onto a computer. Some applications you need what do you call it? Kind of more powerful computer or what have you. So and this can be accessed on the mobile as well, on your mobile phone, on Mac, on PC. So it's quite, it's probably the more accessible of the sort of platforms, especially if you want to get people to visit your gallery, your artwork, and also if you want to collaborate. Okay, so you can see that's processing at the moment. Same principles for everything. So we can scale it up. It's kind of hovering in the air, like here at the moment. So again, I need to grab it. I need to push it onto the wall. If you want it on the wall, you can have it hovering in the space. You can change the dynamics of the space or use that empty space. I mean, there's a lot to cover, and we'll do as much as we can today. But we could pick up a second session when you've all practiced. I'm happy to sort of pick up a session of what questions you have basically when you've tried to do things yourself. I think that's probably sometimes a good way. Okay, so that's processing. I tend to put lock on everything because again, if you're on edit mode by mistake, and you can easily move things around. Autoplay with the video and loop is quite a good option. So when someone enters your space, the video starts playing straight away. And if I didn't want these assets, you can just obviously delete the asset there. But if it's added to the inventory, it'll be in your inventory here. So you can see my inventories here and my videos, and it's got my Unity Unicorns video there. If I wanted to delete that out of my inventory, I can just delete it from here. Also, another way to check the content that's in your frame is to go to frame and then this frame, and then you've got a list of all the assets that are in your frame. So images, I've got these in there at the moment. So what can happen sometimes is you can push an asset behind a wall and you don't know it's there, and then suddenly you've got like 20 images in your space, but you've only got 2 images on the wall. So this is where you can go and just actually see what's in your space and delete all those mistakes that you've made. So the sounds, there's like a sound control on it. So by default, if you've got it on autoplay, when someone comes in, if there's sound on the video, it will be playing the sound straight away. Obviously, if your sound's working on your headphones or on your computer. So, and you can control that sound, and then you can control the video as well. So if someone just wants to pause the video, they can just pause it, or turn the sound down, they can do that. So I would actually do that in your editing before you put the video up. I think if you want to hit people with a lot of sound, then go for it. But maybe be mindful that when someone comes into a space, if they get blasted with sound, it can be quite off-putting. So you might want to be quite subtle about how you think about it. Sound is super important. A lot of people just think about the visuals and they don't think too much about the sound. So yeah, have a play around with that. You can import sounds as well, audio. So it's the same, just and that is spatial as well. The audio is spatial. So if you add audio the same way that we've just been doing, I'll transfer. Oh, there you go. So the video is playing now. So okay, I'm still in edit mode, so I'm not seeing those controls here. So I'm going to do the controls. I'm not sure if you can hear the desktop sound. Let me know. So you can control the sound there. I'm not sure whether you could hear that because it's coming from my desktop. I'm not sure. Um, so yeah. So if you go in the space and press play, you'll hear it. Okay, someone's asking avatar cam. So avatar cam is basically on your. So let's do it with this dude here. So this is my AV bot, my support. So I've got a. This is sometimes good to use. Have maybe two accounts. So I use another account as like a cameraman almost. So when I'm doing an event, I've got like or for instance, this AV bot at the moment is sharing this screen. So you can start to sort of master the sort of use of good use of the 3D web really. So for instance, avatar cam is. So I'm just going to share the camera on the AV bot guy, share his avatar cam, which is effectively me from another angle. Yeah. So that that provides uh, it kind of breaks the illusion. A lot of the time we don't use this within our group because it kind of starts to go down that road of a bit too real and a bit too what do you call it, teams. So in a way, it's quite nice starting to think about the avatar and to think about the sort of representation of the avatar. And obviously, this is a free platform. The avatars are not great. Not everyone's taste. So there are other platforms you can have really quite advanced avatars. You can sort of customize your own avatars. You can customize these avatars, but they're quite limited in customization. But that's the kind of compensation you need to make, really, with a platform like this. Or you can, which I'm going to show you in a minute, you can switch um, to not having an avatar whatsoever, and the experience can be different. So I'll just go onto this screen here. So I'm just going to load an example. So if you can see on the menu, there's an option in your frame. I won't upload all the content because I think it's quite self-explanatory, really. It's all pretty much the same as the image and the video. You just upload it, you add it. The audio comes in as a ball, and it's got controls on it. 360 video, that's more advanced stuff. We can talk about that in a bit. I'll show you a 3D model before we finish. We've got 15 minutes, so I'll show you uploading the 3D model and also just talk about the what you need to do with 3D models in order to process those. And it's good if you're going to get a bit of tutorials on that. That'd be great. So I'm just going to show quickly the difference between a frame. So I'm going frames, this frame, and at the moment the capacity is 15, so I could have up to 15 people in here. And hello, whoever that was that joined, thank you very much. But you can have up to 15 people in here, which is great. But the more you use this, you can request, go on if you go on the help pages, you can see there's a Discord channel, and go on the Discord channel, and that's a really good place to have conversation about what works, what doesn't. But you can also contact the frame team and ask for an extension. So one of our frames, we've been using it a lot, and they've upped that to 35, so we can have up to 35 people in there. But this is what I wanted to show you. So here you can switch between a single user and a multiple user. So at the moment, this is on multiple user because we've got multiple people in the platform, like I say, up to 15. But if you wanted a single user one, it will literally do this. It will go straight into your into your frame. So with a multi-user frame, you have to click the connect button when you go in. With a single user, basically what's happening here is you're just going straight into the frame. Um, and you're not going to encounter any other individuals, any other avatars in this space, because basically what you're doing is entering the frame as an instance of the as a single individual instance of that frame. So you could have, you know, loads of people experiencing this frame at the same time individually. It's basically the closest to a 3D website you're going to get. And what I've done here, in order to link multiple galleries together, I've put these doors in. These are obviously not doors in the space, because I'm trying to. This kind of goes back to that question: can you change the colours of the walls? No. Can you put doors in the walls? No. But what you can do is put an image on the wall that sort of replicates a door. And when I click on that, I can say, do you want to go to this frame? To this next gallery, I can say, okay, yeah, go there, take me there, and it'll take me to the next gallery, which is effectively another frame. Okay, so that's now taking me to this second gallery, and then there's a portal there back to that gallery, back to the gallery one. So yeah, I mean the quality of the images is quite good. So that's something you can have a look at, and also you can play around with the scale of the images, which is a bit of fun as well, that you put in. Um, so I mentioned the Digital Maker Collective. That is basically a collective of UAL students from across all the 6 colleges, and alumni. And within that collective, they've identified sort of themes, areas of interest, and one of those is digital fashion, and we've got cryptocurrency art, and we've got what else have we got? Oh my god, mine's gone blank. Live performance. So very much looking at the potential for using sort of the avatars as performers, really, and doing a performance with the avatar. And like I say, this really is like a sort of gateway into other platforms that can do that, in quite an amazing way, really. I guess the other thing that I haven't really touched on, which again we can, once you've got your heads around this a bit more, and you've started to get hands on with it a little bit, what we can do is, which I haven't shown and I'll demonstrate next time, is, so this is like a VR headset, and basically, so if you see in the bottom corner there's like VR. So when I'm in this headset, I go to the browser in the Oculus Quest headset. These are like 299 quid headsets. It's standalone, so it doesn't need to plug into a computer or anything. So I'm in the headset here and I go to this browser and I click VR, I'm literally like I'm in the space, and it's amazing. It's just, and then you've also got controllers which give you hand movements. So effectively, when you're in VR, you're almost like a motion captured individual presence, rather than just a computer, a 2D PC, sort of, not very animated. So your head moves a lot more because it tracks. Acts like a tracker, and then your hands move as well, a lot more naturally. So in terms of performance, that can be quite interesting thing to experiment with. And then sound, yeah, that's an issue because you've got latency. I think all these are quite interesting areas to explore. Okay, I am going to quickly just show the 3D objects. So again, the 2 options: add to this frame. So the streaming screen, that is basically what I had over there, where I'm sharing the screen. Um, I'm sharing a screen from another computer, and that is a streaming screen really. And you can also have a show your face as well if you want to do that. A whiteboard is basically you know it's quite good. We have a bit of fun with a whiteboard. So if I want to add a whiteboard, um, it's what we do at the DMC is basically there's a couple of whiteboards on the wall, and we just sort of or quite a lot of people just mess around and do um, collaborative doodling as we're kind of talking. Um, so yeah, it's very basic, but it's kind of it's good if you just want to quickly sort of show, do something. Models, right? So 3D models. This is where you probably need a bit of support if you haven't got much experience in the 3D model side. There's two ways to upload, and you only see these two ways to upload. This really confuses people. If you add to this frame, if you go to add to inventory, you only get the option to upload via Sketchfab and not directly from your computer. So if I was to add a 3D model into here, and I didn't have my own 3D model, I can search for a 3D model through Sketchfab. So anyone that doesn't know Sketchfab, Google Sketchfab. As it says, it's awesome. It's basically a big library of 3D objects, and it's very useful for bringing for finding. I've built whole frames just on stuff that I found on Sketchfab. It's got everything. It's just quite amazing. It's an amazing community. And add to that community, create your own account and put your own 3D objects in there as well. So you go to Browse Library. I don't know. Let's see, I haven't searched paint. There's a paintbrush there. So I've just put a search in there, and I'm getting all these things for paint. And painted fruit tart, nice. So this is where you need to be a bit careful because 3D objects can really impact on the performance. So ideally, you want to make sure that the poly count, which is the amount of sections that the 3D model is made up of. So the more polys, the bigger the file. The less polys, the smaller it is. Obviously, the less detailed it is. So I would always go for up to 10,000 polys because you're going to get a 3D object that's not going to overload your computer. It says you're going to need to log in, so it's logging me in, accept. So you need an account. So just set up an account if you're going to do this. And then you just click import. And then your 3D image should just drop into the space. Hey, there you go. So I've got a nice looking barrel there that someone's made for me. It's fully 3D, so I can move around it. I can edit that the same way I can edit all the other stuff. I could put it up in the sky there if I wanted. I can enlarge it if I really wanted to get quite. Again, you don't have to follow convention. Have a bit of fun with the gallery space. Make it. You can do something that essentially is, why replicate reality when you can do what you want? So, do convention or not. So there you go. You can kind of move it around. Again, I'm going to lock that in position. If I wanted to add a link to that, I can put a link to a frame. So if I wanted to do like a link to another frame, I can do DMCXR, which is the Digital Maker Collective space, set frame link. And then when I click on that barrel, I need to come off the edit menu. When I click on that barrel, it'll say, do you want to go to the other frame? I'll say yeah, and it'll take me to the Digital Maker Collective. Basecamp, which is a good time to basically say that if you wanted to come and join the DMC, you're more than welcome. Just email me and I'll send you some information. We meet in this frame twice a week on Tuesday evenings and Thursday evenings, and then we go off into different spaces. We don't stay in Frame VR. We go to Alt Space. We go to different parts. We're sort of messing around. So here's the sound balls here that are playing music at the moment. That they come in, and you can press play controls on that. So I would see the Frame VR as entry level into this 3D metaverse space, right? So I would, and what you could do is in the let's go back to frames, your frames. Someone's at the door. What was the question? Yes. So if you go to the frame and then change it to a blank space, then this is where you could create your, so that barrel, say, imagine if that barrel was your art gallery. Obviously, you'd have to make it really large if you wanted an art gallery barrel. But obviously, if you made your own space, your own environment, then this essentially could be your space. There you go. I'm in that art gallery. So yeah, so if you created your, and we've done it before where we've created our own 3D buildings. I'm just going to come off edit mode. Actually, I'm going to take off the link for this because every time I click the barrel, it says, "Do you want to go to that space?" I'm going to do that. I'm going to come off edit mode. So yeah, you kind of get the gist. I'm kind of. This is where you can have a bit of fun, really, and you've got to also just accept, this is a free sort of platform. And if you want to go into more advanced stuff where you actually want to build your own massive environments, then that's the kind of thing you can do more advanced stuff in other applications like AltSpace, for instance. We're building massive spaces at the moment. Okay, I know everyone's got to go. Thank you very much. I'm more than happy to do a follow-up session once you've got your hands on and given it a go. And email me if you
Thank you
need any
very much.
questions.
Thank you
Cheers.
so much.